Hello, Lucy and Conrad. Hello, Caleb. Are y'all ready to continue the latest X-Men adventure? Even Professor X is looking over my shoulder because he wants to see what happens. And I'm sure you do too. So let's look and see what's up next. All right, this is the X-Men, and the title of this is To Save a City. Remember, Count Nefaria is the bad guy, and he's threatening Washington, D.C., our nation's capital. And look, the two super teams are fighting each other. We've got Angel, Beast, Marvel Girl, Iceman, and Cyclops, and they're fighting against the Eel, Scarecrow, Porcupine, Plant Man, and the Unicorn. And so we've got a great battle going on between these two great teams and between their leaders, Count Nefaria and Professor X. So let's get started and see what is going to take place. X-Men, the most unusual fighting team of all time to save a city. Here's the editor's opening blurb. It's rollicking resume time, but instead of wasting a lot of space on wordy introductions, let's quickly plunge right in and let the story tell itself. First, Iceman tells Count Nefaria, your super-powered flunkies may have captured us separately. Remember, the last story was titled Divided We Fall, and certainly the enemies of the X-Men took them on one at a time and captured them that way. You know, Conrad and Lucy and Caleb, a lot of times you can accomplish things together as a team more readily than you can just one at a time. So teamwork as a family is a big deal, as it is with these superpowered teams. All right, Iceman goes on to say, you'll never get the X-Men to help you in your moronic plot. Okay, it's a stupid plot. And Marvel Girl thinks, who is this Count Nefaria? We've never encountered him before. That's kind of a pun. They've never encountered the Count. Well, we have encountered Count Nefaria, but it's been a long, long time ago. One of the early Avengers stories shows the Avengers being trapped by Count Nefaria in his castle, and in the battle, the Wasp was shot and in danger of losing her life. I don't know if you remember that story. It was a long time ago, but the enemy then was Count Nefaria, and he pops up from time to time in Marvel stories, and here he is fighting the X-Men for the first time. You know, I must say that Count Nefaria is a well-dressed fella. He doesn't have a fancy costume, but he's got a nice tuxedo with a ruffled shirt, a cape, and a cane. I'm impressed. He's the best-dressed villain of the year. All right, let's see what he has to say. In a few moments, while you are chained here helpless, I shall steal the nation's capital. Just as you X-Men fell before the power of the new revived Magia, this crime syndicate, so will all of America soon grovel before the might of Count Nefaria. Join me and share my supreme triumph, for if you do not, I shall be forced ultimately to destroy you. Angel retorts, What are you, Nefaria? Some kind of nut? Nobody could possibly capture the entire District of Columbia. But Cyclops joins in and says, don't be too certain, Angel. There's something about him that makes me suspect he may be able to carry out his threat. And the Beast says, so let him orate away, Cyclops. We're definitely a captive audience. The Beast is correct, my friends. Furthermore, you have no choice but to aid me, claims Nefaria. For whether you do or not, the world will hold you responsible for that greatest of crimes. So that's your angle, says Cyclops, to force us to help you. Angel adds, that still doesn't explain how you intend to capture Washington, the most carefully guarded city on Earth. I choose to reveal no more at this time, but rest assured, the menace is a very real one. Refuse to serve me, and not only will a million persons be doomed, but most ironic of all, you shall be blamed for it. My hands will be clean. And now I leave you to decide. I shall return in 1 hour. That sanguinary little scene should bring all delinquent Marvelites up to date as painlessly as possible. And now we switch to the present as we see Nefaria before his view screen. He says, let the drama begin. The world shall soon know of the irresistible power of Count Nefaria. First, the nation's capital must be sealed off from all outside influences. Then, even as the Count manipulates the controls of his awesome invention, the citizens of Washington are suddenly startled to behold, what's this? It can't be snow, not in June. No, it's countless glowing particles crystallizing in the air. But what can it mean? However, there is no answer except silence as the luminescent fragments combine to form a solid, encompassing dome about the entire city. And look, here comes a plane. Holy Hannah, where did that thing come from? Your guess is as good as mine. It appeared just as we were going in for a landing. It's a good thing they were able to pull up. And the cars are lined up. Nobody can get through from either side. Is it some new plan to make Washington attack proof? The sign says, welcome to Washington, but nobody can get to Washington. Inside the transparent prison, we have a policeman and a truck driver saying, look, officer, if this is some kind of alert, how long is it going to last? This truck is loaded down with perishable goods. If this is a test, Mac, answers the policeman, I don't know any more about it than you do, and I wish I did. The cars are backed up for miles already. Meanwhile, in the Capitol building, America's lawmakers have much more on their minds than traffic. As they look out the window, they say, I don't like it. The president has assured us that dome is not of our making. I wonder, could it be theirs? And by theirs, they mean the communists. And this official says, we must get to the bottom of this and fast. I'm calling the Pentagon. But even as the senator dials, both the civil and military authorities are already on the spot. And here's a construction guy. He says, no go, this pneumatic drill will cut diamond, but it won't even dent this stuff. And here's a fireman with an axe. And I might as well be swinging a strand of spaghetti as this axe. And here's the military. All right, men, that's enough. We'll have to blast our way in. Whoom! And so dynamite is tried on the strange, all-encompassing dome with discouraging results. We struck out again. What's that thing made of, anyway? General, I've got a hunch that nothing short of an A-bomb is going to smash through that barrier. You may be right, Captain. But we dare not use nuclear weapons without knowing just how strong the dome is. Otherwise, the loss in lives and property could be staggering. Then what is there left that we can do, General? Nothing, except sit and wait. I suspect that whoever constructed this device will get in touch with us. And you guessed it, Marvelite, at that very moment, Count Nefaria says, I have given Washington and the nation long enough to determine that nothing they can do will rid them of the crystalline dome. And now it is time to present my demands, for in so doing I shall force the X-Men to become my allies in this most daring of all possible crimes. Bare seconds later, on the steps of the Capitol, a most unusual scene is enacted as we see the X-Men or at least images of the X-Men, appear. Angel says, "Stand aside, guard. We've come about the shield which covers the city." The guard says, "The X-Men, there is a special committee meeting right now. Go on in. After seeing you battle the Sentinels, I've a hunch if anyone can lick this thing, it's you." So the guard remembers when the X-Men fought against the Sentinels. Do you remember that story? Then there's a mind-staggering ultimatum. Cyclops delivers. "We are responsible for your imprisonment. You will issue to us certificates worth $100 million at once. Otherwise, within 3 hours, the crystals of the dome will absorb all oxygen inside it, and you will die." "What?" says the committee. "You're mad. We're only one committee. We'd have to call it a special session of the entire Congress." "Then call it. Remember, you have 3 hours. One of the X-Men will pick it up from your representative on the Capitol steps. Have the money there, or suffer the dire consequences. And now, goodbye." And Iceman adds, "And if you think we're bluffing, just try us." Well, here comes some policemen. "Here they come. Grab 'em, Eddie." "Right, but they're ignoring us," as the X-Men just march on. Gleep! Hey, they vanished, all 5 of them. Is that one of their mutant powers too? I don't know, Charlie, but with these muties, anything is possible. After all, they ain't really human. But what worries me is what'll happen to all of us if Congress turns down their demand. And so these images disappear. But these people don't know that they're just fake. They believe the real X-Men came and delivered that ultimatum to Congress. In the meantime, what about our real, muchly mistreated mutants? Let's not forget about them. Cyclops says, "We've got to get free somehow." "Hold on to your goggles, Cyc," says Angel. "Marvel Girl is giving Hank's cuffs a go telekinetically, using her mental power." Iceman says, "I hope she succeeds. They're too strong for my ice power to affect." And the Beast says, "I realize this is hardly the appropriate time, but that tickles." "Quiet, all of you," demands Marvel Girl. "I've got to have complete concentration." "Any luck at all, Jean?" "Negative, Angel. Whoever designed these shackles did so with me in mind. They're too complicated for me to undo without first having studied the locks. If only we could manage to mentally contact the professor." "But why can't the fettered crime fighters contact their leader telepathically? We were hoping you'd ask." So back at school, we see the professor working on some kind of complicated invention. He thinks, "I'm almost glad my X-Men are having a vacation just now, for this new invention I'm perfecting is so important, I must give it my undivided attention." Ring! That noise! Oh, it's just the telephone. Y'all have never seen one of these. This is called a telephone. Back in the old days, we didn't have portable smartphones. All of our phones were attached by cable inside our homes and offices. I've mentally sealed off my brain so that while I'm working, even the X-Men can't contact me. But I forgot about such a mundane thing as a telephone. And so he speaks and says, "Hello, General. No, as a matter of fact, I haven't been listening on the radio." "What? An emergency regarding the X-Men?" "Yes, of course. I'll meet you there within the hour." That was General Fredericks, with whom I worked as a civilian advisor when we defeated the Sentinels. He says that the X-Men are threatening the nation's capital and hopes that I can be of some assistance in combating them. His story is fantastic, but he can't be lying. I must contact my students. "Attention, X-Men, wherever you are, contact me at once. Do you read me?" No answer with my first try. They must be some distance away, but I will reach them. I must. Meanwhile, in Nefaria's hideout near Washington, Cyclops says, "Don't give up, Marvel Girl. I've got an idea. If only you could bypass the metal band on my head and open my visor slightly. My powerful eye beams would free us." "That's a great idea. I'll try, Scott, but I'm so weak." "You've got to try, Jean. The fate of the city is at stake." And so she tries and she probes with her mental power. And she says, "It's giving. I can mentally feel the visor opening." But that did it. You managed to pry it open just enough so that the energy beam from my eyes forced it. I'll turn the beam on my own bonds and then free the rest of you. Don't take too long, Psych. And I think this is, well, I don't know who it is. "I'm getting awfully tired of being the poor man's prisoner of Zenda." Sounds kind of like the Beast. Next, with grim resoluteness, Scott Summers swiftly frees his fellow X-Men. "That's more like it," says Angel. "Now let's tackle Nefaria and those creeps who captured us." Marvel Girl asks, "What could the Count have meant when he said we would have to join him?" "We can't be sure, Jean," answers Cyclops, while he goes "Pathap" and knocks the bonds off of Iceman. And then finally he turns to the Beast. "But my guess is that he's in the process of framing us for whatever colossal crime he is committing, figuring that as outcasts we will have no one to turn to but him. Hold still, Hank, and there. Many thanks, loquacious leader, but why must the long-suffering Beast always be left to last? Oh well, c'est la vie, as they say. The French say, c'est la vie. That means that's life." "Now comes the good part," says Iceman. "Wait till I put the ice-cold kibosh on that slippery eel." "Wait, Bobby," says Cyclops. "Listen, all of you, we're being contacted mentally by the professor. I had a hunch he'd find us sooner or later." "Attention, X-Men, this is Professor Xavier. I have just probed your location telepathically, and I'm ready with your instructions." Beast says, "Fire when ready, sir. We are all ears." They don't need ears, they just need brains to receive his messages, but it's just a manner of speaking. And so it is that a short time later, as the malevolent master of dreams elatedly observes a giant telescreen, "They've done it. They've agreed to my terms. The Senate has just voted a special appropriation to be picked up by the X-Men at the expiration of the 3-hour period." And then here come the X-Men. Angel says, "That's fine and dandy with us, Nefaria. Our only question is, what's our percentage of the take?" The X-Men, how? "Never mind that, Count. Let's just say we wised up and let it go at that. After all, as you said, the humans hate us. Why shouldn't we get revenge on them and make money at the same time?" And the Count answers, "A most sagacious decision, my friends. But let me warn you of one small detail. I have designed the crystalline dome in such a way that only I can manipulate the dials to dissipate it. If anyone else tries, he will bring total annihilation to your capital. Remember that, in case you harbor any foolish conceptions about deceiving me."